tone, recording, the process. How do you do it? What makes it fun? Because today we live in this age of plugins, computers. You don't need to have microphones anymore. You can do it all inside of a box.
That's right.
Which is actually a great way to do it in some ways.
Sometimes.
And then there's the other turn too. Like, that's what we want to explore, like which way is best for you, or is there a happy medium in between? Is it fun?
Yeah.
Is it all work? I think it can be all fun.
I'm going to take a hard stance on this one. Get excited.
Oh no. Okay. So my name is Baxter.
I'm Sean.
We're here at Casino Guitars. Thanks for joining us. We were talking about this the other day because we're all in the process of recording things. And so yeah, stay tuned. There's lots of projects coming out from everybody here at Casino in a strange way, except for me. I just kind of play with other people's stuff. I don't
That's
have
a lie.
a creative soul.
Christmas time is here. He's going to be surprised.
Christmas. But no, so it's I used to record a lot back in my younger days, and it was, you know, I learned sort of the old-fashioned way. I remember Pro Tools was coming out when I was a youngster, and it was horrifying, and it sounded like trash.
How long, you've told me this before, but for the viewers out there, how long did it take to load in a new reverb setting?
It took about like 60 seconds. So you'd have to click it, and there'd be a spinning wheel for all you players out there, and it'd be like adding reverb, and you'd see like the little bar go across on the wheel, and then finally add it, and if you didn't like it, okay, remove reverb. That's
like,
how it was. And we used to have to go to like a public, I think it was like a public computer that had the Pro Tools on it, so it was so expensive back in the day. So anyway, I learned to record with tape. So I actually learned how to cut tape. Have you ever cut tape?
No, I
It's
haven't.
crazy. I haven't done it in years, obviously.
I haven't. I use a very hybrid like setup, and anything I've ever done has either been straight into a DAW or on the, like I am doing now, tape, and then going into the DAW and adding from there.
See, so what's fun about this conversation is we brought Sean in here to sort of be my young counterpart and arguer against all of this antique stuff. But the funny thing you're gonna find is, have at it, Sean.
I'm the opposite, dude. I get pissed. I've been in a studio situation, and the worst words to hear, they like make my ears
I know where you're
cringe,
going.
is somebody saying, yeah, but I could do that in post. Why would we do that? Because I can do it in post. I can do it in post. It's like, great. You know what inspires people?
Post.
No, whenever
Doing it in
you sit
post.
there, like, nothing takes all the energy and momentum out of you recording something and doing something that you're like, oh, I'm on the edge of something. Whenever you could physically do the thing, it would take less than 2 minutes to set it up.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to interrupt and interject for a minute. I don't know if it's something I learned from Richard Lloyd or something I learned from some of the other guys earlier. Like my whole vision of recording was you're capturing your performance.
Yes.
And if it's just a performance, it's not the whole thing like I'm doing like in a show, but a performance of that part.
Yes.
And it might be performance on the keyboard. Like I used to, even when like, you know, sequencing came out, like if I had a keyboard part, I'd play the whole thing from beginning to the end of the track because I felt like it sort of breathed within the track more that way.
Exactly.
And I don't know if I was right, maybe I was just stupid.
You run into an accident sometimes that you didn't know you wanted. And there's two things with that. Whenever you're recording vocals, you should, in theory, put on really nice headphones that are silent, and you can pump it just a little bit in the vocalist's ears, and they're in a nice quiet room, a booth, right? And they sit there with the mic and they're singing it. Whenever Brian Eno was recording all of the big U2 stuff that everybody looks up to, right? The stuff that you're like, wow. He was in the control room with the speakers blasting. He said, you know why? He's like,
feel it.
An engineer hates that because they'll have all this bleed. He said, but the vocal take that you get is alive, and you feel it. They're not sitting there pretending to get that energy over and over.
Because he was doing a lot on like a 57 or something too. I thought it wasn't
They're
like
just letting it rip.
That's the same with like Adele's "Rolling in the Deep." I think that was recorded in a bedroom track. The track you hear on the radio was done, and they went back to the studio and tried to re-record it countless times. Like nothing's got the sauce.
Didn't have the energy.
Same with Ed Sheeran's guitar track on "Love Yourself" with Justin Bieber. Yep. That was just him on a demo thing, I think, on his mobile rig that he was just doing. Yep. And then they couldn't get the same vibe.
Well, that's the magic sometimes, you know? Is like is being in that moment and you capture that performance, right? In the same way, if you want to run a guitar through a Space Echo into a tape machine out into 2 or 3 different amps and then set up mics on all those and record all that, you could definitely do a bunch of stuff like that in plugins afterwards and see if you like it. Or you could set up that tone in that room that day and you could sit there and you could start playing something, and then all of a sudden you're inspired to take this song to a whole nother level. And that to me is what is important.
When I
Is
think,
get there.
yeah, and I think now, like where we are, this is where the gear jumps in a little bit. We are in a place where you're in the kind of golden era of recording, if you want to be, because we have all this new gear out, like the new Moog keyboard,
Yes.
which has all the sort of presets and sort of stuff ready to go for someone like me that doesn't want to spend as much time plugging cables. You got the new pedal, the Chroma,
the Chroma console.
Chromacaster. My Chromacaster, it's the new Telecaster. Chroma console. Is that by hologram effects?
That is by hologram. And it's cool because it's like having a bunch of weird stuff in a singular box that actually functions and works around each other in a neat way. That is, I feel like it drives creativity instead of, what the amp in a box thing does.
And I've done that too, and I was trying just to get speed along. Like, I just want to get the guitar tones in. Like, the plugins are great. They sound good on if you're using Logic, Pro Tools, like, Reaper, whatever you use, there's good plugins to get.
Yeah, I mean,
stay tuned for we're going to be doing something on the 2 Rock.
There are, but also, I think some things are meant to be broken. Break them, okay? If you're using a plugin, don't do everybody, they always say that, but they always say you're supposed to run a chain like this, boom, boom, boom. EQ, compression, EQ. It's like, sometimes it depends. Sometimes you bump into something
I never
and you're
learned that
shit.
in the same way, so I fortunately don't have the ability to know if I'm breaking the rules or following. I just do whatever.
And that's the magic to you in a studio situation where I've been able to see you before, where you go and you just go.
Just to sort of see if it's going to work. And I'll spend hours just tweaking things sometimes. And I've prepared pianos. I've taken, telephones and run it through telephones. I think you've probably done the same stuff.
That's right.
But that's the fun when you have spare time. Yeah. My time is not that anymore, so that's why I need some of the gear to help me to sort of make what I'm hearing in my head. Well, actually, let me stop a minute. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm hearing in my head until I do it.
Yes.
That's how I record a lot, because I compose on the spot.
It's almost like abstract painting in a way, right? You're you don't know what you're going to get until you're in it, and then you find the meaning in it, whatever that is. And that's where sometimes bumping into a tone is the greatest thing that can happen. And I think a lot of those famous sounds that we all enjoy, from all new music, old music, everything, it's that thing that you didn't realize you needed until you hooked all that crazy stuff up and you played it and you went,
and there
it is.
That just made me think. I might yell at Derek real quickly here for a minute. I can't remember. Derek, do you remember the name of that movie coming about the fifth member of the Beatles?
Is it Midas Man? Is that what it is?
Midas Man's coming. I think it's on, and what is that? It's streaming, I think, right? Is it?
It's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Well, that's just kind of neat thinking about, we all think of George, John, Paul, and Ringo, but that man, that magic man, that sort of helped, he was the secret sauce to the Beatles that really, pushed them to not just doing I Want to Hold Your Hand. There was something different happening, and that's fun. Now, but going back to again, golden era of time where we're at, there is so much here's the fun part. Get on the internet, find the gear that you think will fit the needs of what you want. You're using tape machines now, right?
Yes, I'm using a bunch of cassette players. Now here's the cool part.
But you're using all digital to actually record
Exactly.
into.
It's the function of going into that, right? But also, ideally, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you're into any kind of tape recording, the Tascam 388 is the gold mine, right? It's also $3,000. So don't feel I've found that I actually don't like the Tascam style of saturation. I like the Yamaha tape machine saturation and how they distort. So don't feel there's a price thing to that either, that's part of the cool thing too.
The fact that you're saying, the fact that this stuff is so expensive now just baffles me, because I remember buying this stuff for nothing.
Yeah.
Back in the day, $120, $150, and I just gave all mine away.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had them. I would have given them all to you now.
They're nuts, man. It's crazy. But also, whenever you do meet these people, a lot of them are characters, and they've done a lot of these weird experimental things. And the way that you did, where back whenever you were doing it, you were just doing that because that's what you did.
I remember doing that with it's when digital was coming. I had a Korg D32 XD. Remember those, the standalone console with that? But I still had my tape things, and I was recording. I had to do I was hired to compose the score for a ballet, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun doing it. But I was I had the tape machines running, recording the piano, going to the Korg D32 XD. And I'd slow and speed up the tapes a bit, and I was really into Sigur Rós at this point.
You get cool warbles.
I was trying to get that,
weird
and I had this great prepared piano that I wish I would have kept it. I destroyed it with a sledgehammer for fun. because it got rained on. It's a long story, but it was this beautiful old upright that you could really get in there with the microphones. Not like the Wurlitzer.
Yeah.
It was.
That's awesome.
It was more like what you see the Coldplay guys using, where like the keys are right in front of you and you play it and you see it, and it was but there was so much fun. But it was a hybrid of shoddy technology mixed with sort of retro technology and then a really retro piano.
Yeah, but all that is really
it sounded
cool.
Way better than my Nord did on the tracks, though.
That's the thing. You getting this live breathing thing, you know. Sometimes we get option paralysis from having all the options within a DAW, right? Everything in the box. We can do it in post. You can do anything in post. Now we have the ability to let AI basically play the bass, the piano, the drums, all the stuff on the track that you maybe can't play. That's great, I guess. What's way cooler is if you pick up a bass and you don't know what you're doing and you stumble into an accident. This happened to me the other day. I've been writing this song and I actually, for whatever reason, I was physically playing the synth bass on this and I went to the wrong note, but it was the absolute right note because it changed the whole way that I heard the chorus of the song. I was like,
yeah,
it's
that's
sad
the magic
now.
of it. Now, stay with us. Now jump to this, like forget recording, jump this to live. It's the same sort of weird alchemy that can happen because there's so many times, like I never had to deal with it because I'm old, but Sean now has this, like there's like silent stages. Churches do it a lot, which is cool, but like rock and roll shows do it sometimes too, where they're running all digital gear. And I've seen it live. I saw it with Everclear, and it was horrible. It was horrible sounding, and that's a good band.
Well, in comparison,
the Ataris who were opening kicked their butts.
There you go.
And they were playing with I think it was like a Marshall stack and an orange or something, bass guitar, drums, and it sounded like rock and roll.
Yes.
And this was in a great place in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Got to hang out with the Ataris bass player afterwards, and he's super cool.
And you could feel it in the room. You know?
Yeah, the other one, it was weird. You saw Everclear playing, it was like, it almost looked like they were faking it.
Yeah.
Because there was a weird
there's a little delay.
Lag or something.
A little lag.
The sound was like, oh, it was horrible.
It feels very nasally and like right here. And whenever I hear people say, oh, well, it's practically the same. It's the same if we run it into a DAW. And that's awesome. I'm glad if that works for you. That's great.
It's like Spam is to like filet mignon.
Yes.
It is the same. Like it gives you the same something.
Yeah,
like, it does.
Protein at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's all you need.
It's like great.
It's like Snowpiercer, man. If you're all eating the little cubes, I'm not saying what they're made of, but in the cubes, it's the same protein. That's what you need. Great movie, by the way.
Whenever you play an amp, though, us doing the charity show and having all those amps behind us on stage, whenever we all hit those chords in Born to Run, and you feel it, and we all went to that D chord, everybody on the stage.
How cool Bruce Springsteen's band actually feels getting to do that for real.
Yeah.
We're just covering his song. It was still amazing.
It's great, though, to feel that feeling and to hear it behind you.
Well, because I've seen some of your stuff and like your local compatriots like play with the sort of silent stuff, and you can tell the immediate. And then you hear them play live too. It's just weird.
Yep.
Everybody's got their in-ears in. I'm like, you don't need an in-ear, bro. You're playing in front of 60 people.
Yes.
Why do you have in-ears in? If you're not playing in front of 400 people, get the in-ears out. I think that's your threshold to in-ear land, unless you're playing at church.
Well, what I think is sad is a lot of people, they boil that down to, well, I want to be a professional. That's why I'm doing it that way. Wouldn't it make more sense if, as a musician, your version of being a professional was being the best damn rhythm man in town and working really hard to be tight and not having to have a click in your head all day to be that tight? That, to me, is being a professional.
Well, that was one of the tests, too. Like, I agree. Like, I mean, when that was one of the Lloyd tours, I can't remember where it was or which one it was. It was, he didn't allow us to have monitors even. He was like, everything needs to be heard from front of house and your amps to what you hear. And like they're playing out there, and it was the most fun. And then you'll notice, even that last show we just did, that's how I had Dave do my monitors. Yeah. Ever since then, I was like, he's like, you want more vocals in your monitors? I'm like, I don't want hardly any. Yeah. You can put them whoever else needs them, but I just want to hear myself in the room. Yeah. And there's something about, it's just like when you go back to recording, you like with you too. Yeah. You feel it, and it makes me sing better, and it makes me have more fun. Yeah. It's about fun. So, I'm doing this for fun. My touring performing days are sort of over in that respect as far as, well,
it's not true.
Maybe something's coming this year. It's crazy. It's gonna be, if you're ready for some old man stuff.
No. The rock and roll is coming.
But it's that's what I really like. I don't know if I'll ever wear in-ears.
And I respect the hell out of that, and it makes me
freaks me out.
it goes to, I was thinking about the Richard Lloyd show the other night. I was in a rehearsal session. Obviously, I have a crazy pedal board with all kinds of stuff on it, right?
He does.
And as I was sitting there, I was like, I thought back to that show and how they had a 3-piece. I'm playing within a 3-piece, and I'm thinking about all these things now, and I'm like, Richard was able to do so much without, he had a pedal that was on all the time. That was it, going into a Supro. And it sounded great, you know, for him to be a 73-year-old man and go into that room and take it in the way that you would see somebody take an arena is like...
Well, and going back to Eddie Ninevolt, too, you can watch his videos on our YouTube channel as well. I mean, it was an amp.
It was an amp.
And a Gibson.
And that, to me...
And not a great amp at that. It was just like a good amp.
And just a good amp.
And a great player who knows how to play his gear.
Having that stuff and understanding that there's a time to use all these tones in front of you and there's also a time to play. And what the pedals should do is not give you the creativity in those moments, in my opinion. That's for the studio. This should be a time to cut something on that's going to elevate the thing that you're already playing. And whatever that might be. And that's how I've started to view my pedal board, is like it is this creation machine on one side, but on the other side, it should elevate whatever I'm putting into it.
Because it can be a cage too if you're not careful. So take these notes, like have fun with, like go out there and like don't feel like a new piece of gear is going to change everything, but don't feel like it won't unlock a whole parameter of stuff too. It might if you use it properly and don't just get stuck in it.
That's right.
I mean, that's, you know, I've sort of found my niche with certain things, but I also just bought myself a nice synthesizer. Because why not?
That's right. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, 'cause I want to make some sounds that I haven't made before, and I needed something that was not my Nord, which has not been in my possession for years anyway.
That's right.
But that's another story. So thanks for joining us. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Happy holidays again. Happy 2025.
That's right.
Let's have a great year. I think it's going to be a good year. It's going to be an awesome year.
It's gonna be
2024 has been pretty good. It's been a long year, but fast at the end.
It's been long.
So I'm going to go home now. Spend time with your family. Spend time for gear. And make music. Eric Saté.